One of the things that I wanted, I think I'm not going to just use the existing install. I'm going to redo from scratch just to follow the instruction. So hopefully, that way, anybody just starting it, they can just follow it through. Don't have to just pick it up from where I am. And then I'll show how to update it as well. So that way, uh, you have better instruction from a point of view of how to install this. Now, keep in mind, I'm not running Ubuntu on my laptop here. I have a virtual machine running in a cloud. For folks who want to do that as well, they're more than happy to do it. I'm using a Google Cloud. You guys can go ahead and get an instance, and then you can do the same thing as well. But if you're running Ubuntu on a USB key and installing from it, or you're running it as a base operating system on your computer, you can just follow this instruction along. Of course, if you're running it as a virtual machine, there's a couple of more prerequisites that you need to do, which I have in place, and I'll explain those again, and then we'll move on with the install. Okay. So what I've done is, as I mentioned, I have an instance that has everything in place, but I'll follow installing it completely from scratch. I'm not going to delete the folder. It's just because I have some wallet and blockchains that I'm going to be needing. Ultimately, what you have to do is, in order to run it as a virtual instance, I'm accessing it. You need two things to be prerequisites. So first of all, you need to install the GUI desktop for Ubuntu, and secondly is you need an application to be able to do the screen GUI screen. In this case, I'm using Xming application, and then you need to set up an environment to forward that GUI in this. But if you're running it on a already Ubuntu installed laptop or a desktop, you don't need to set this up. This is only if you're running a virtual machine instance and you want to do that. Okay. Going back again, the repositories and how to build the instruction. The first command here is basically deleting that folder, just reinstalling it. I'm not going to do that. It's just because I know everything I have is in place. This one here, what it does, it installs the Git, and then it goes in and then clones this repository, and then goes again and then runs this command. So all I'm going to do is actually going to run this command just for the demonstration purposes to show you what it goes through. Okay, so the command is basically a script, shell script, that you will run, and it just goes in. So I'm running it in a sudo mode, so shell go.shell. I'm actually going to close this application that I'm running on my local Ubuntu, just because it will only one will be able to run. So I'm going to close that, and this is again another way to run it on your Ubuntu machine. So once you do that, you press. Sorry, my apologies. I have to be in that folder to do that. Once you do that, it goes through and validates all the prerequisites that you have in place, and then goes through the whole install process as you can see. For me, maybe it's going to be a little bit quicker because most of the prerequisite softwares are already installed, as you can see. But if you're running it the first time, it may need to download a few additional components, prerequisite softwares, but the whole process shouldn't take that long. It also depends how much memory CPU you have. This instance I'm running is just one CPU, not a lot of memory storage. I do have another instance that is running in here. Because I have the blockchain already, I'm not going to download it, but let's say you don't. Let's just follow the basic one. You'll say yes to it. It goes in and downloads the blockchain as a file that is uploaded each day at midnight. And of course, you will need around 10-15 minutes to synchronize this blockchain. So we'll let it download. It is not very slow. As you can see, it'll take less than a minute, and we'll have the blockchain downloaded. Oh, sorry, I didn't. The screen was not shared. My apologies. Okay, if you can just confirm if you can see the screen. All right, guys, I'm actually going to redo this then one more time just to making sure we capture the screen and we have it, and then I'll modify the video to delete the first parts. Okay, awesome. So I can see somebody confirmed they're able to hear and see. Keep in mind, guys, I have the other side of the thing to see your chats. It's on a phone. So I may not be able to come and confirm your chats, but once you keep, please share your comments, any issues. I'll come back to it once in every other few seconds or minute, and then we'll go through it. Okay, so as you notice, the install process was very fast. I mean, depending on how fast your instance is, your machine is, it should not take longer than 15 minutes. In my cases with a much faster 4 CPUs and more memory, more RAM, it's faster. But in this case, it's actually 1 CPU, not a lot of RAM. It's a 2 gig RAM and it has 20 gig of storage instance that I'm trying to run this. So once the installation is done, I also downloaded the blockchain. As you can see, it overwritten up to 122.387. Now it will try to load that block index. Because it already has a lot of the blockchain database, it will take some time. My opinion, it's always taken less than 15 minutes, but as the blockchain file going to grow, it may take a little bit longer and longer. This is the first time you run the application. Okay, I just want to confirm we are still good. No issues with the video, no issues with the sound. And while we're waiting, just want to, a lot of folks, who are interested, getting involved in testing, I want you guys to get involved because this is a very active development team. From the last release to general public, there's been over 200 commits, right? So if you go in here in code, you know that this is the releases we have released, right? So if you look at the release that was released, we have 111 commits to this. So 1,100 issues and fixes and patches has been already applied, and there are more. I can see 25 more that will require approval from Justin, and then folks are, and they're different things. Could be as a bug, could be enhancement, could be even a typo, could be warnings. So different developers are looking into this and providing updates, which is very important for you guys to understand because it's an open source. The more and more people going to utilize this, the more and more going to find issues, the more and more enhancement going to happen. This product will evolve much faster. We also have an issue tab. Anybody who is using the wallet, you come across a new issue, or you want to put in some comments and feedback to existing, so you can go through it. You can see there's 70 issues. None of them, all of them doesn't have to be bug related. Some are just asking for enhancement, like an automated update, an acknowledgement has been made. Some, they just want to ask some cosmetic issues in terms of the font color. So anything that you guys feel could improve the product, please come over, click on a new issue, type in, define what code are you running in and what version, and then that could be looked at it as well. Uh, of course, if you're a developer, you're interested in looking at the code and finding bugs and fixing it, the whole code is publicly available. You can go ahead and make changes to it if needed. Uh, so ultimately, once that code changes, it gets reviewed, goes through a bunch of testing, and then gets published. Once it is committed, as you can see, this one here was 18 hours ago committed. That's where we do a git pull. We pull that updated file and recompile, and we run the wallet. So what I'm running is exactly this. This is the code that was committed 18 hours ago. Okay. And as you can see, it's been done. The wallet is loading the blockchain, and it's just moving forward. Okay, I'm just gonna look again on the chat just to making sure there's no comments and feedbacks. And then I'm going to open up the other wallet that I have in the other machine. Okay, so no comments so far. Somebody's asking about how can they be able to assist in translation. So once you are on GitHub, you can open up an account. You can also install a GitHub desktop, which then gives you access to this repository. And there are instructions and how to get involved and changes. But if you need any questions, feel free to just put a comment or in any of our channels. There are many channels now for this project. There are GitHub projects. There's a Twitter. You can tweet and find out people giving you answers. You can come on YouTube. You can have on and many other communication channels that are available. Reddit is there. Discord channels. So there are a lot of people can help you. So just reach out. They'll be more than happy to help you and kind of show you how you can contribute to the code, to translation, could be to testing. So different people can contribute different way. All right, guys. The other setup that I have another desktop running, and all I'm doing is I'm remoting to it. Uh, so from that perspective, and that's right here. Um, and this is where another version that I'm running as well. This is exactly as the last version that I just compiled. So the wallet is up and running. Here's a wallet, and I've made some transaction as well into this for transaction. Some are regular transaction of receiving coins, and then others being a transaction that is stealth transaction. Um, because I'm running this, I'm actually going to run another wallet as well, which is localized on a Windows machine. Keep in mind, this wallet is not the latest compile. This is just a wallet that was you follow the binary available. So this does not have all the enhancement, but I'm just going to use this wallet so I can send. I have already addresses in place. It'll be just easier for me to send transfers coins from this to these other wallets that I have. Because I'm running an X-Men forwarder, I have very limited access in terms of copy pasting outside this window. If I copy anything, I'm not going to be able to paste it. So it will take some time for me to type every single wallet address. So I'm just going to use the other one to transfer some coins here so we can see how the transfer works. And this is the number one thing that people are missing. The wallet or the coin, it's not just solving the security, but it's also solving the ease of use, how fast the transfers are, how expensive or inexpensive the transfer fees are, and that's number one. And scalability, which definitely the product is out there. As you can see, many people are even doing transaction today in terms of exchange, buying and selling in this coin. But you can certainly utilize this today to send and receive coins to each other. So having the wallet installed right from the get-go is a good thing. Second thing is part of it is about security. So it does security in many ways. First of all, security doesn't just on a basic, it creates different wallet addresses. So for instance, think of it an alias. I mentioned this before. So you could have several aliases using for different people. So you don't have to just use the same address people sending you, right? So you could have different addresses for different people for different occasion, right? In this case, I've only created one address or two addresses, but you can go ahead and create as many as you want, right? And do that. So to create an address in this wallet or any of your compiled wallet, so you'll be in right here, which is the third section. As you can see, it shows you the list of all receiving payments, and it will show you all the wallet with the labels that you've created from before. So let's assume we are going to be this other wallet that I just run, it just popped out. As you can see, it's out of sync, but we'll give it some time to sync. So let's assume, I just don't want to give my regular address to somebody that I sold something on Kijiji or sold it on eBay or sold any online, or I'm just making a transaction. So you'll come into this receiving, you'll click the new address, and we'll tell you, okay, what is the address you want to call it? So I'm just going to call this, YouTube live 2. And then, this is the section option for Stealthaddress. We'll come back to it. I just want to show you how to create a basic one, because this is by itself in a security feature that people don't understand. So we label that, we press OK. What it does, it goes and creates for you an address. And as you can see, that's the address right here, right? So this is the address. You can either, send a QR code, which is right on the screen, as you can see with the code. And if the folks already have some wallet, and if they want to be doing a transaction with me live, they'll be more than happy. They can use that QR key and they can send some transaction for themselves. And I'll send that transaction back if they want. But if you want to give it a try, you can scan that QR code from your wallet. You can use your Android wallet or any other wallet, and you can copy the address and paste it. Okay, so that's one way of receiving. We're going to send this transaction right now. So let me copy this here, this address. Actually, because I'm running, as I said, um, this option, I won't be able to copy it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type it. It'll be a little bit longer, so bear with me. But that's what I have to do. So I have to type this. So I'm going to scan it with my phone, and then we'll type it. Unless I have to. Actually, you know what? I'm going to send a transaction most likely with my phone. So if you have a phone, you basically opening the app, you go to a send section, you'll scan the code, and once you've scanned the code, you just push in the send button. In my case, I have a few features, security features enabled in that wallet. It asks for a password, and then I have to enter my password, and then after that password, I'll send it over. So okay, so I've scanned it. I'm just typing in my password right now. I'm confirming it, and let's close this. Go back to the screen and come back here just to see, uh, because I'm using a Tor wallet on my phone. Sometimes because it's not integrated right now, the Tor, so it uses the apps to go back and forth. Um, it's a little bit, I would say, not consistent. But once the transaction goes through, I'll confirm this, and you can see how quickly it'll show here, and we'll receive that. Okay. If you're using it as a regular wallet, you'll see it's instantaneous when you're sending this transaction. Um, uh, let me just also do one more time. While we're doing that, let me actually show you on the screen so that way you can see it. Okay. So in this here, if I'm sending, so by the way, as you can see, it's out of sync right now. And it did receive some transaction here, but it's out of sync. And the way I know it, it just says here out of sync. This is the other wallet that I just built while we were, chat. So as you can see, I built it. It automatically launched for me because I'm running a Xming and I'm forwarding the GUI, the wallet GUI on my laptop. So it's already connected. The reason it's not synchronizing, connection is not stable enough. It only has one active connection. So the moment it has 2 or 3, it will start downloading the latest blockchain. And how you know that is this: you come in help, you click on debug, okay, and you click on get info, okay? And this just tells you, that what address you are, what block addresses you are, okay. This IP address, by the way, it's not mine. This is a public IP address, is on the cloud. So that's why I was able to share. And the other way is you come in here, the information side, and you can see what is the current block is happening in the blockchain, and we're actually at 114, right? So blocks are increasing. We haven't connected synchronized, so it's just a matter of time it connects and will synchronize. So we'll give it its time. But I just wanted to come back to the screen to share with you that once this is done, you'll see that happen. Now, I was also, let me just make sure, going back to the other screen. I'm also running, a wallet here. I do have an unconfirmed transaction in here. What unconfirmed transaction means is has been sent, is just not been confirmed yet. Okay. And that's a transaction that been sent on YouTube Live. This is the one I've just done from the phone, right? So you can see I did send a coin. Here's the confirmation. I'll keep it up like this so people who want to validate the transaction, they're more than happy to do that. But as I mentioned, I'm very limited in copy and pasting this transaction on a blockchain. But I'm going to do that, from the other side once I send and receive things. Okay, I'm just going to go back to the channel to see if there's any comments. So guys, I see people are growing and watching it. I would really appreciate each and every one of you guys to tweet and share this, because the more and more people will see, they get involved, the faster, sooner we can solve this, the more fixes can happen, right? So it's very important for every one of us to get involved. If you're committed to this project, you're part of it, every single one of us can contribute to it in any form or shape. It doesn't have to be always, you have to be a coder. You could be doing different things to contribute, to create awareness. There's a lot of people part of this community. They don't even understand fundamentally, what this project is solving. So it makes sense to go read the white paper, understand what is it doing, what is it trying to solve. A lot of people even throw comments that, why are we copying codes, or why are we doing things others are? Open community, open source projects, you take some existing codes there, you improve on it. You don't have to rewrite everything from scratch. That's the beauty of open community. Different people contribute to different codes, and that's how the enhancements are done. Okay, guys, so I'm just going to see if this unconfirmed transaction has some commits. So keep in mind, the more and more people nodes going to be up here, these transactions are going to be faster, right? So there's not that many people right now utilizing, at least not using the new wallet, but here is the one that getting confirmed. So as you can see, we already got one confirmation, right? And that is because I'm also not connected to many nodes. This wallet I just booted up, so actually still connected to 3. So this connection goes up. As a stable connection is about 8, 9. When more people are running, more nodes are running, it becomes better and better, right? Okay, let's go back to this other screen. I just want to make sure I have the synchronization is happening or not. Okay, it doesn't have, it just got another connection. So also these connections, just to explain how they work. So the way these connections work, it's very similar to how Bitcoin works, right? It's just because of fork. So it broadcasts to see the nodes, and nodes can join and leave this whole ecosystem, right? So more and more people are going to use, more and more nodes going to be in. You'll see much more connections. So at this point, maybe not a lot of nodes are up and running, and some could be not running the same code. But ultimately, this on an average today is about 8, 9 nodes you'll see, and you can get the information about these nodes. So if you go back again to your debug window, right? So there's a lot of commands in here that may not be available at the UI right now, but it doesn't limit you to utilize them here. So first of all, the commands to list your accounts. So you can say list accounts, and we'll show you all the accounts that you have. So I have only one account here, and because the transactions are not up to date, it's showing me in a -3 coins right now. Okay. The second thing you can do is you can get information about your wallet, which we talked about is get info. And that gives you the information in regards to what version of wallet you're running. As you can see, I'm running the latest one. What is the protocol version? So rate is 9001. What is the wallet version? what is your balance, new mint, stake, and all kind of information. What is the supply of the coins? How many connections? Am I doing any proxy? What type of algorithm, proof of concept algorithm using, and difficulties and so forth. Okay. You can also, if you're mining, you want to have your solo mining and you want to mining, you can say mining info. The information about your mining algorithm, block size, difficulties, and stuff. Okay. Now, for testing purposes, if people don't want to do real, we're actually not on a test net, as you can see. You could certainly be on a test net as well. So if you want to just test the wallet, send and receive coins, when you're running the wallet, you just define dash dash testnet, and then you could run this wallet in a test network, which there are no real currency, and you can mine it solo. You'll get some coins. The difficulty is very low, and then you can send testnet. In my case, I want to see the real network, how it works. I'm actually not using the testnet network, but if certainly you don't have any coins or you don't want to burn your coins, pay the fee, you can certainly use the testnet as well. And anytime, look, as you are, I'm only using this few days, right? So I'm not used to every single command. So, it's a learning curve for me as well. So if you're not, don't know the command, type in help, shows you all the commands. I want to actually show you a few things. So you can show addresses by account. You can show account addresses. You can also create transactions from here. You can do pretty much everything that you can do on UI and more using this command. So if you are a CLI person, you don't want to go on a GUI, you can do all this here as well. And some of the other things that you can do here is, you can create stealth addresses, which you can do there as well on a GUI. But if you don't have the updated binary that was available to you before here, you can send address and transaction from here as well. You can send to many addresses, broadcast it, right? And then, that's how you do that. You can also list your regular addresses. You can list your stealth addresses. Let's use that command. I have one created already, and that should show me, okay, right there, right? So ultimately, there's a lot of function here as well that you may utilize on a CLI purposes. So let me just go back to see if there's any comments, and then we're going to go back to the other wallet to making sure. Okay, so no comments. I'm going to go back to make sure that wallet has synchronized. And okay, so that was our address that we created. And in the transaction, we actually received that money. So as you can see, it was confirmed 11 times. This is the YouTube label. I'm going to keep it on just for people to confirm that the label they had before is exactly the same as this one. Okay. And you can look at the transaction ID if you want to, and you can look at the blockchain how to do that. As I mentioned, I'm using this X forwarder, so I cannot copy this in here. But ultimately, you come in, to the Verge blockchain, and you just type in that transaction, and it should give you the information. Okay, and once you look for a transaction, you'll see something like this. Keep in mind, I haven't sent any stealth. The stealth mode is basically there'll be no record of the transaction, but this is just a regular transaction. Now, as I mentioned, this itself could be different addresses, right? So this address could be the one if I request it to send. And if I type it, let's just type it. I'm going to take it from the phone and I'm going to type it. So bear with me. I cannot copy it because I want to show you guys this feature. It's pretty cool. Okay, so if we type the transaction, I'm actually going to type the wallet that I send it to. So DR IPF 5EQR 7Y05 NX ZM 5M FP FL DY BARW X84 BU. Just going to copy this. I just, took the address from the phone. I'm just clicking in here, double checking. I hope I typed it correct. We'll see. Let me just double check. Maybe I typed it wrong. So dripf 5eqr 7y. Okay, sorry, 7oy s nxzm 5fmfb. Okay, so that's the transaction. As you can see, that's the hash, and that tells you that was the address that I sent it from, and this the address I sent it to. Now, this address is the one on. Sorry, which this is address on here, right? And as you can see, there was so many transaction was done, but this address was the only one transaction. So this is not even getting stilled, having record, which is to me it's a key thing, but still nobody can trace it. So I can now create another address and send it to that address, right? So ultimately, nobody would even trace it to this original address. And if I want to move around, I have that option as well. So I can come here and move around between accounts if I want to. But ultimately, you don't even need to do that. But let's assume if you wanted, you could have done that. There's an option in the CLI. You can move around, coins between those addresses, because the wallet that you have is not attached to an address. You can decide that later on you want to delete that address or don't use it and create a new one. So this is a feature that people don't understand. This is part of the stealth of the Wraith protocol, but this is not keeping your ledger private. This is still keeping a public transaction, but keeping your transactions private. There is no traceability to the original wallet and address. It's just an address. Nobody could know what that is. So you could be using it just for a single transaction. You could be using it for single purposes. You could be using it for a single bill or receiving, different purposes as well. Okay, I'm just going to go back to see if there's any comments from the folks. Guys, I just want to confirm that you're seeing the screen. Everything makes sense. Uh, I know there's not a two-way communication here, but the chat is there for you guys to put in your feedback, your comment, and then we can look at it as well. So the question is the Wraith protocol to be used online like blockchain wallet? I'm assuming they're saying, can we use the Wraith stealth addressing very similarly that we did, a regular public ledger? So the answer, I just want to make sure if that's the question. So if you can confirm the person was asking, uh, and then I can answer that as well. By the way, guys, this is another wallet of mine. It's running on Windows machine. So this is much older, but I wanted to run it up and synchronize it to kind of, send some transfer as well. Okay, so that was the question. So sending and receiving mechanism from a wallet point of view, they're exactly the same. So behind the scene, the stealth protocol, it's a completely different hashing algorithm. It's a completely different code, and a completely different function. But from a user point of view, who's sending and receiving is exactly the same. Now, the difference is the addresses are much longer. So for instance, if you look at this address transaction, they're much shorter in an address type. But if you look at a stealth address, so let me bring in all the addresses here. And sorry, addresses here. So as you can see, this address here is a regular address. Let me show you the address and a QR. And you can notice the length of it. It's not very long. It's almost half of it. So that's a regular address. A stealth address, uh, which is much longer, as you can see. Sorry, I didn't have a stealth. Sorry, let me create. Actually, I don't have a stealth address on here. Let me go on this version. sorry, I should have an Stealthaddress. Give me a second. Yeah, sorry. So a regular address, that was actually me sending that. So a regular address, as we created this one here, as you can see, much smaller in size and string, and they use a different hashing algorithm and different public and keys. And how the exchange is done is a different from a technical point of view. A stealth address is a much longer address, as you can see, and the keys are, much longer as well. But from a sending and receiving point of view, it's very identical. So if let's say you want to send to this address, right? Or that is the same thing. So once you copy that address, let's say you want to send, and this is one of the bugs that the main compiled version of Wallet earlier than had. So if you would have pasted in here, it would have truncated, the rest of the address keys, and that would have not worked. So for that, you had to go manually to the CLI. The function is there. It's just you had to go to CLI and then use the command called send to stealth address. And I'm going to show you that. Okay. So first of all, to get one was also an issue. So in order to get one, you would have run this command here, get stealth address. So if any of you guys don't have it updated, and if you go to the help and the function is there, so get new stealth address, and then you would have defined a label, would have given you a new stealth address. And then to send, using stealth address, you would have used the sent transaction using stealth mode as well. So when you are sending through the GUI has a check. It looks at the address itself and sees, okay, is it a regular address that I'm sending transaction with, or is it a stealth mode address that I need to send? So it's behind the scene. A condition does that. So as you can see, there are two types of function here: send to address and send to stealth address. So this is what was not working in a binary that has been, released a few days back, but with the new code that has been resolved. Okay. So once you send that, it's very similar here. You put in the value that you need to do, and it goes into a transaction. Now, the stealth address, nobody can trace it. So I'll give you an example of a stealth address that I've sent. Is this one here, and here's the transaction. The reason, because the node that I have sent it to, it's not up, so there's no confirmation yet. So because there's not that many nodes to inter-exchange this, it takes some times for this transaction to receive, and that's what's happening right now. But hopefully more and more people running this protocol will show you sooner. But you can see a transaction ID has been done. A fee has been removed from my wallet. It just hasn't been received on the other person that I've sent it to. But if this transaction ID you were to check in the public ledger, you'll find nothing about it. It will be nothing at all available. And for guys who are skeptic, they want to test it and validate it. Here's a transaction ID. You can more than happy to take a copy of it. When you watch this video later on, when it's confirmed, you will definitely can validate it that it's not going to be there at all. I mean, it doesn't have the confirmation right now. As you can see, it's been broadcast to 28 nodes. It's just not many people have installed the newest version. So there's not many nodes understand this transaction. But more and more are going to see it. I'm seeing going to go through. Now, we did some testing, and some folks have confirmed it took the transaction some time, but they have received it. Now, through that period of testing, there were several errors. One was related to how the exchange was done. The hashing was failing. There was memory issues, but through the bugs has been resolved. So hopefully this is fixed, and once more and more people will compile this, we should see this transaction going through as well. Does that answers the question? Gentleman will ask about the Wraith protocol. Okay, thanks. So let's just see if my other wallet's synchronized. So this is the Windows version wallet. I haven't actually loaded this wallet for a few days. And as you can see, it's only 660 blocks more left to do. Now, let me tell you guys, I've used several wallets in the past few days just to kind of do a comparison. Majority of the wallets, we all know that also fork from Bitcoin, and that they are worth 500, 600, thousands of dollars a coin today. I can tell you, when it comes to the wallet, there's nothing, they're not better. When you install them, first of all, there is no blockchain to download. You have to let the wallet run for days and days just to synchronize. And when it does synchronize, your sending transaction is not as fast and quick as this. There's a much higher transaction fee. Certainly, it does not have any of these anonymous features that you can have create different labels, different addresses, different transaction modes, and certainly does not utilize Tor or IPT network to be able to move around. So it prevents your IP addresses or source of IP addresses being visible as well. Now, of course, there were some websites that are trying to validate. Honestly, it'll be very difficult for you to test it. I mean, a regular person, but the right way to test this, you'll have to running a bunch of TCP dumps on both sides of the network, and then try to listen, run it as a node, and confirm it. I have the capability of knowledge to do it. It's just I don't have the resources and time. So again, as somebody thinks that it's not working, I can assure you my wallet on my phone, I validated using just a Tor that it does in fact work. It changes my IP because I could see I'm sending the transaction with various IP addresses as a source. But if somebody thinks that it's not, I would like to see that. I would like you guys to do that capturing, validate it, and test it. Not put a website and trying to just show me the transaction with an IP. Actually do the packet capture, do TCP dumps, show me the real deal, and then we'll talk about it. But certainly all of these features are not available in any other technology today. We're just going to wait for this to synchronize, guys. This shouldn't be not any longer. Now, for folks who wanted to run Ubuntu on a Windows machine, so let's say you don't have access to an Ubuntu OS, you have a Windows machine, a Windows 10 machine. So you can certainly do that. I'm actually running a wallet right here, and I'm compiling it. It's a little bit slower than a regular. It's just because it creates a virtual machine. But as you can see, the process is very similar. I'm running it on a desktop. It just takes a little bit longer. To do that, I'm not going to show the whole tutorial. If you just search on Google how to run Ubuntu on Windows 10, it's a straightforward 10 minutes process. First of all, they'll ask you to go in and change the Windows 10 to a development mode. So once you do that, then you have to go and install the Linux tools, which is a second set in terms of Windows additional tools. Once you have done that, you can search for Ubuntu on their marketplace, or you can just type it in here, and an Ubuntu instance will be available. You can install it, run it. Once you run it, it'll give you a screen like that, and you're really in an Ubuntu. And then you follow the same instruction that I've shown, in the README file here. So you'll come into the code, right? This README file was just updated a little bit yesterday. So you click on the README. You can see it was updated 2 days ago. Just put in a little bit better format. And then you follow the instruction I just did. It's technically just 2 commands, or actually 1 command, because you're just doing it from start. You'll come right here, scroll down, and you'll click on right here, Linux instruction. By the way, if you're running Linux or any version, flavor of Linux is the same, commands. And then right from there is a simple instruction that I follow, and you should be running this wallet on Ubuntu, on Ubuntu on Windows 10. So which is exactly like that right here, and the wallet will be running. Okay. So this is again, it's not as fast as having the own instance, just because the way the Windows is interacting with this, but it absolutely works. And I do have a wallet that I will run, and I'll show with you guys. Any questions, guys? I think we were able to install a brand new wallet. We've synchronized the wallet. I've already shown you transaction from an old wallet to a new wallet. Ultimately, this is a Windows wallet. As you can see, it's still synchronizing. We also have shown you another wallet running on Ubuntu, which is this one here, running on Ubuntu, that I showed how you can get Ubuntu. Of course, it's a little bit out of sync. It's waiting 2,000 transaction. There are some unconfirmed money. Those money that I sent, they were stealth mode, so you will see them as well. And then, you know, uh, we showed you how you can get the code from GitHub. How can you be part of it in terms of issues and projects? We also, kind of showed you how you can, um, look at the transaction from a blockchain and download it as well. So downloading as well. Sorry, let me just look at that for folks who are using, a Windows machine or have already installed it. Okay. So to download the latest blockchain, this page is updated in a couple of days as well, thanks to a few people have updated. So once you are into verge-blockchain.com/how-to, there's a whole instruction, and I'm sure there's a video to do that. It explains to you how to do it. So if you're in a Windows machine, your Verge folders are here. Now, keep in mind, there's been a new enhancement that you don't have to be always in this folder anymore. So if you come here in the build, somebody actually did request this, and that has been committed. Okay. Uh, so close. There's an option now. You can have your config file pointing it to a completely new folder, because a lot of people wanted to, do you want to just put it into a USB key anymore? Okay, so this has been a commit. I want to make sure we show you that commit. It doesn't have to be now that folder. See it this morning that has already been part of the new code. So not tested it, but I would love you guys to validate and test it. I know some folks have already tested it. That's why the commit is closed. Basically, either you do on a command line when you're running it, you just define the new directory, or in your conf file, verge.conf, you can define that directory. Of course, first time building it, you have to define it when you're running the code. And then once that directory is created, you can create the conf directory. So I'm just going to see if I can search, because there's been many commits. Sorry, but there certainly is there. I mean, I would say maybe in the closed section here, issues. Okay. I was asking somebody about translation. As you can see, people are translating it to different languages. So once you get involved, people ask for it, you can come in and do the translation. These are all the closed items, by the way. These are all the issues that has been closed, as you can see, constantly since New Year. Lots of new bugs and challenges or new enhancement was asked and has been fixed. We talked about this not accepting more than 34 characters. We talked about this. There were a few Stealthaddress, challenges which has been sorted out. We're finally in the few. There was a transaction issues. So again, these are all publicly available, guys. You can more than happy to go there and read through them. There's, but collaborating. There's different issues, different of feedback. And if the issue is a real bug or real enhancement, then an action gets happened. Right here. So as you can see, it was closed June 5th, right? So if you want to be able to put it in on your USB key or a separate hard drive, so that is now is a new way you can do that. Okay. So I'm just trying to give you an example. A request was made, right? And how quickly solution was put in place. And that's impressive. Anyway, guys, I think we have almost everything covered. I'm just going to wait for the wallets to synchronize, just to making sure those transactions are all gone and received. As you can see, this wallet, we didn't send anything, so there is no unconfirmed. The specific wallet, we sent $1 and we received it, right? Which I've shown you as well. And then I have a different wallet that I've sent, you know, and guess what? There you go. The balance got confirmed as well because it reached that blockchain and it was already confirmed as well. So it's no longer into the unconfirmed state. It actually got into a confirmed state. Now, also while I'm running these transactions, so there's a way I can look at the logs of the errors. So as you can see, I have two windows in here. I'm actually looking at any errors that are being done. So there were many errors before with the stealth, as you can see, and you'll notice them we have done. But in this case, latest been no errors so far. So I'm grabbing on that on Linux file, and I've sent and received no errors. Any questions, guys? Any comments? I see 56 folks, watching this live. Do you guys have any questions, comments? Folks, I'm not part of the official core. I'm very similar to you guys, part of the community. I've tested the code and validated. Uh, I'm not sure when that official announcement going to be there, but guess what? You have access now on how to get the latest code, contribute to the code, test the code, validate it for yourself, way ahead of anybody in receiving the official announcement. I think that's more cool than just waiting for announcement coming back, getting the binary, installing it. So, you're really, really, truly part of the project. The way this testing and compiling is happening is, I'm not testing and compiling on the release, which I did, a few days ago, and I used the Windows version, which I'm running here to demonstrate as well. But since then, there were 111 commits. What I'm showing is right now that on a daily basis, there are new commits, and how if you are interested in getting the latest commit and not waiting for these releases, because think of it, if every day this, Justin goes and release these commands, you won't even have time to do coding. So what happening is, these minor commits are happening to the release, and then maybe I'm not sure how often he updates, but I'm assuming once the final major issue gets fixed, then this gets updated. So I know for sure a major issue has been fixed, but because there's not enough, testers testing and validating and confirming it, it's just probably have not updated here. But you're more than welcome to go ahead and get that code yourself, which I've done, right? We have installed the latest code. As you can see in here, this is my Windows version, and if I go, into a debug window, and sorry, the legal information in here, you see I'm using the version that has been released, right? This has been built in January 1st, around 2:21 p.m. Now, if I go on my new latest that I just, compiled, and if I go help debug window, uh, and we go into the information box, this is the latest commit with the 111 commits, right? Which I compiled, right away. So you can see that's a big difference. Okay. and you get to test and then contribute if that issue. And this is what a lot of testing and development happening is. Once I see if there's a bug and this release was supposed to fix it, I could run it and go back and confirm, yes, this absolutely did fix the issue. Okay, so this is what you need to get involved in doing, and more does that, more and more bugs gets identified, right? From that Windows release to this one, many things have been identified, right? The help screen, having several, options, the settings, the font, the GUI, the change of the background, all that kind of stuff, and that continuously, folks looks at it and evolves it and improves it. Okay, so I was waiting for this Windows to synchronize. As you can see, it's already fully synchronized, right? I've looked at this perspective to synchronize, and it's synchronized, and I have received that dollar that I was sent. Now let me go show you this Windows, which is the old version. The concept that I was explaining about, transactions send and receive. Okay, so this is somebody send me, a tips, and you're more than happy, if you guys feel that this video is delivering what you need, provide some, compensation, and that will help me to pay for the time that I'm putting in here, and hopefully will help the community and overall. But here's a coin that I send into this. Okay, I'm just going to check this, and I want to explain to you this because first time it's a little bit difficult to understand this concept. And I'll explain this, and that would be the end of this video, guys. I don't want to make it longer than folks need it. So I have sent 2 coins to this address. Okay. Now, part of the transaction, you can also see the receiving address at that time had 192.50 balance. Okay. So if somebody looks at that address, the balance is 0. So and I know, looking at live on the screen, my balance is 190.40 coins. Okay. So what it did, when I send that address, it automatically created a new address for me and moved my funds, the balance, to that address. So you can see right there. Okay. So from that address, when I start sending to another coin, then it creates a new address. Okay. So continuously, the balance now, my latest address is that. Okay. Now, the address that I send it to here, 2 coins. Give me guys 1 moment. I'm just going to mute myself. I believe I have my kids calling me. I'll be back in a second. Sorry, guys. I had to answer to my kids. I have 2 little ones. All right. So what I was explaining is the transaction of that address, that where it go. Okay. And this is the key things, that this is not even using the stealth. This is just using the basic addressing. That kind of shows you that you can different addresses, different things can be created, and there'll be no way somebody has to sit in hours and hours trying to figure out where things go. Okay? And then that specific address that I sent 2 coins to, that address will show you only a balance of how many sent to it. It will never show you the actual wallet balance. Actually, that wallet is this one here. So you can see the balance is completely different. Okay. So, and the number of transaction on this is 8. So, which in here only shows few transactions which I made to this address alone. And this is because for my convenience, I decided to use that address. It's just, I'm not able to copy it, so I don't have to retype it many times. But let's assume if you would have had to use it only for a single transaction, or for simple individuals or for certain bills or for certain accounts, only will show those. It never connects to the real wallet address, which you can keep completely secret. Don't have to share that. Doesn't have to be anybody known, right? Part of your receiving addresses, you could have, let's say this one is your main wallet, and you never share that main wallet. And let's say you create this for Mike to send you money, okay? And this one is for, let's say you bought something on eBay and you want to use that for that transaction. So nothing will get traced to that, right? That's the beauty of this, okay? So this is not even using the private ledger. This is continuously the public. The private ledger, actually, once you send it, you won't even able to see it, okay? So that transaction will never ever be seen. So that's completely private and nobody can trace it and track it. All right, guys, I think that's kind of, leaves me with the demo. I know there's still synchronizing blocks in here. Let me just make sure this wallet is the one that we actually created from brand new synchronizing blocks. Even though, as you see, it was synchronizing because a transaction that was unconfirmed was sent earlier already got confirmed. This other wallet that we are running here. Sorry, I just want to make sure we are going to the right screen. Okay. And this wallet is already synchronized, and we have received and I've sent some stealth addresses as well. And those are my wallets between my wallets that I've sent. This is the 90 cents, by the way, that stealth was sent through notes. You see, there will never show confirmation, but this is the 90 cents that I sent from this wallet. Sorry, from this wallet to this wallet right here. Okay, and you see the 90 cents, but I will never see, the transaction around this. You'll never see that transaction. So we'll wait for it to synchronize, but and hopefully we'll try to trace it. But that transaction will not be visible. It just took some time. By the way, that transaction was sent, a few hours, and the reason for that is, I'll show you guys so you understand. You'll notice that I have connected few nodes, but not a lot of people are using. So the command here is this here, pure info. The nodes that are processing this, not many of them are, using the version of the new rate. You see, this one is using 2. This one is 2. Most people are using 2 releases behind, or the nodes are releasing 2 releases behind. So unless I don't get a node that understand that transaction, these nodes are just treating those transactions as non-standard, and they're not going to process it. Okay. So once I have a transaction, I'll receive it, and that's what happened here. That's why I'm able to see that 90 cents that I sent a while back. Yeah, you will not going to be able to confirm it on the blockchain. The stealth is completely gets gone. Yeah, like see these question marks. Once they get confirmed and released, this confirmation transaction you would never ever confirm. You can test it when I see the screen. For me, I have to type this whole thing one at a time, but they will never get confirmed. It'll just show not visible. That's the whole point of it. It's a private ledger. It's just one-to-one broadcast. It broadcasts it once the node that it belongs to sees it, confirms it. And that's pretty much it. There is no more, there is no public ledger to see. There are no timestamps happening. The best way for you to try it out and then you see it for yourself to understand it. Yeah, I haven't used this product for a long time, but I can tell you after a few days of installing, getting involved, reading the white paper over and over, making myself familiar, then I bought into it. Yes, it works, but you have to try it yourself to really see, that what is promised has been offered and it's working. All right, guys, I'm gonna finish this here. I'm gonna keep the screen running. I'm just gonna mute my mic just to get offline. Try to see, get some food. I guess it's almost 3 p.m. I haven't even had lunch, but I'll keep the screen going in just so people can see the synchronization. So I don't have any comments. Somebody saying, "Oh, it didn't get synchronized" and all that. So I'll let this run. Probably in our 10-15 minutes, this synchronization will complete, and then I'll close the video and hopefully I'll try to edit it, and then that should be automatically on YouTube. Anyhow, thanks for joining, guys. I appreciate if you could spread the word. Let's more and more people see this. Seeing is believing, and then testing is validating it. So I would recommend you guys all test it and validate it as well. All right, guys, have yourself a very nice day. Cheers. All right, guys, as you can see, all the wallets are synchronized. All the transactions are gone. Everything is confirmed. All the wallets. Here is the Windows wallet. Here's another version that we compiled. We did receive the funds as well. And that concludes our demo for today. Thank you.